What up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and there's a plane flying over. It is your boy JB, and we are here today, you guys, with a brand new show, The Braxtons, that premiered on WeTV. So this is not what I think a lot of us were familiar with is Braxton Family Values, but I knew that when I saw the promo and everything, it wasn't the same. It wasn't saying BFV. I was kind of hoping that they would keep the theme song, but I mean, I was hoping that they would keep the theme song, even if Tracy is not with us anymore. But this is a brand new show, season one of the Braxtons, episode one, and this episode was titled "The Braxtons Are Back." You guys. Now, before we go ahead and get into this video, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel, if you guys aren't subscribed yet, then I need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, you guys, subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, and also by sharing the video. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let us go ahead and discuss this episode of The Braxtons, shall we? All right, you guys. So, like I said a few minutes ago, I really wish that we had the theme song because that is what made Braxton Family Values on top of the girls as well, right? So, this season they're dedicating it to Tracy. And if you guys follow me on Twitter, like I said, when the clips came out about this show, I tweeted how I felt about it. So if you guys want to go over there and see what I thought initially, go over there because I don't want to talk about it here. Um, Overall, the first episode, I thought it was a good episode. I understood very well where they came from with a lot of stuff, right? Because oh God, I've dealt with cancer in my family more than once, right? I've had quite a few family members pass away from it, right? My grandmother passed away from cancer. I had an uncle that passed away from cancer, and then my paternal grandfather, he passed away from cancer as well, right? So definitely have dealt with it, and I've also dealt with one who we were in the room with him when he took his last breath, and it's just something that you never ever forget. Like, oh my God, you guys, I'm over here. Thank God I decided not to get on camera. I knew I couldn't get on camera with this episode because this episode it hit a lot of emotions for me. Dealing with cancer, dealing with the passing of my mother. I understood where they were coming from, and I cried throughout this entire episode. I cried watching the clip earlier this week. I'm about to cry now. I cried earlier this week when they released this scene in this episode um with Tawanda and with Trina. Oh God, I am really about to cry. Let me get myself together. Okay, but yeah, you guys, it was a good episode. Just you know, it tugged at your heartstrings, and it tugged at my heartstring because for one, when I used to watch Braxton Family Values, one thing I've known about me is I'm a huge Toni Braxton fan. Love me some Toni down. I love Toni, right? And then when we got introduced to this show, I fell in love with Tracy. Tracy was my girl because I understood Tracy so much, right? I really understood Tracy. What I will say is I've listened to every one of the girls. I've listened to every one of their albums, right? Again, huge Toni Braxton fan, so I know all of Tony's music, right? I've I tried to get into Trina's music, but it just was not my cup of tea. But it wasn't bad. It just was not for me. Tamar's music, listen to Tamar's music. Tracy's album. I loved Tracy's album. I loved her album. My God, she had a really good album. Her first and only album was a really good album. I loved it. But yeah, getting into this episode, you guys, we open it up with Trina. So you guys remember Trina got married and she's been with Vaughn for now 5 years. it was so funny watching Vaughn with her when she was making beef chorizo, right? And he was asking her like, what is it? Where's the broccoli? Is there going to be broccoli? When is it going to be done? And I was like, he sounds like a child. Like, what are we eating with it? Like when you go on a trip and the kid is like, I'm not, that commercial, I'm not touching you, or are we there yet? That's what Vaughn was given, right? Now, Trina has let us know that since the passing of Tracy, the sisters haven't necessarily gotten closer to each other, but they're not estranged from each other as well. And I understand that because at this point they're approaching 2 years that Tracy has passed away, right? Grief is an emotion that it's hard to describe. It really, really is hard to describe because when I lost my mom, that first year, honestly, I don't remember the first 2 years of my life when she passed. I don't remember the first. I for sure don't remember the first year that my mom passed away. I can't remember anything from that year. The second year, I don't remember much. I don't remember much either. I don't remember anything from like the first 3 years. I was 3 to 4 years because I can remember things from like 2019 on until now, but 2017 to 2018, I don't really remember stuff. I can remember stuff from 2019, but not a whole lot. But like the first few years, I would say first 2 to 3 years, I don't remember a whole lot. And I did distance myself from family members. I closed off, and like I said, grief just takes on a whole. It just it consumes you, right? So I'm happy that in this episode they talked about grief counseling, right? Now Trina let Vaughn know that girls are going to be meeting up even with and mommy. They're going to be meeting up to have dinner with each other, right? And we'll definitely get into that in just a little bit. Um, Now Trina let us know that since Tracy has passed, that she's worried about little Kevin because Kevin was Tracy's only son. That was his mom was his best friend, much like with me. So I know the feelings that he's feeling is just something that you never come back from it. You never come back from it. You're never the same again. And it's just like a for me, there's a whole missing piece to my heart, right? Like when my mom passed away, part of my heart left with her because I feel like without her here, I feel so incomplete. Like I don't, today I feel like myself from before she passed away, but it's still there that she's not here, and there's a part of me that is missing and gone and that I'll never get back. So I feel for Lil Kev, right? But then Trina told us that he's not even talking to his dad, and I was like, oh, that's not good, right? Because you've already lost one parent, and now you're not talking to the other one. Ugh. I hope that they can, whatever the issues are with little Kevin and Big Kev, that they can mend them, and because they're all that's left of Tracy, and they should be there for one another. And just as much as little Kevin is a part of Tracy, he's also part of his dad. And I don't know what could have happened. And I pray for both of them because I know that that has to be hard on Kevin, knowing that he's not talking to his son, and I'm pretty sure it's hard on Kevin not even talking to his dad. So I pray for both of them, right? So then next up, we get this dinner with the girls, right? I thought it was cute and funny at the same time that Tawanda and Trina had on the same outfit. I was like, isn't that interesting? Now, Toni lets us know that, she is not staying in Atlanta these days. She's actually out there in LA because you guys know that she has that Vegas residency with Cedric the Entertainer, where it's like a variety show, right? Where they're doing some comedy, music, and things of that nature, right? And Tony lets us know that she had a health scare recently where she had a stent put in her heart. I was like, oh my God. Whew. It's just a lot when you think about it. They have been through a lot. So then we also find out that, Tony is single. So I was like, oh, so you're not with the Birdman anymore. Okay, good. So they were talking about, the food in Atlanta and in LA, because Tony was talking about she's eating guac out there, and Tamar was like, I'm tired of lemon pepper island, because everything is lemon pepper out here. Lemon pepper this, lemon pepper that, lemon pepper, lemon pepper, lemon pepper. That was my mom's favorite thing. Like, if we were to go anywhere and get hot wings, she had to have lemon pepper. And I was like, good God, lemon pepper, lemon pepper, lemon pepper. We even like, I even go when I would go to the grocery store, I had to buy the lemon pepper seasoning. It's like, I was like, Ma, that stuff is strong as if you buy the lemon pepper seasoning in the store, it is the strongest shit ever. I was like, my God, this shit is strong. Even when she would like, there was a restaurant that we used to go to, she would get the blackened catfish, but she would want lemon pepper on. I was like, oh, but she would tell them go light on the lemon pepper. I was like, I would hope you would say light, because it's even there, because they would put the lemon pepper on there, but it would be, I'm like, girl, you can smell that stuff. It is strong. Like, I now here's the thing, I like lemon pepper, right? Really do, but it is strong as hell. That scent of lemon pepper is the strongest. Like, I tried to cook me something with some lemon pepper once before, right? I didn't over season it, but when I put it on, I was like, "Ooh, that's got a kick back to it." My God. So, what else happened? So they talked about Tracy and her esophageal cancer, right? And they were talking about how when she told them at one point, I think they were filming at this time, and Tawanda was talking about how she said it was painful for her to swallow. And I was like, oh, Tracy, rest in peace, my love. Rest in peace, Tracy. And, they were talking about when she went to go get tested and she found out that she had cancer, and she told her mom that she was going to beat it. And, I got my middle finger up to cancer. That is what I do right now, is middle finger up to cancer. So we also found out that Trina was there when Tracy took her last breath. I was like, oh God, that's got to be the worst thing. I don't. Now here's the thing I will say: I don't know what that's like as a sibling, to be in the room as your sibling takes their last breath. Because my mom and I were in the room with my uncle who had cancer, and we were there when he took his last breath. We were there for that. And I just didn't. Ugh. My heart went out to my mom, and my heart goes out to Trina, because I was like, God, we're literally sitting. Well, actually, you know what? My mom was there when my uncle took his last breath, and my mom was also there when my grandmother took her last breath. I, unfortunately, thank God, was not in the room when my grandmother passed away. But the way that I found out that my grandmother had passed away, it was so, my aunt, one of my aunts, she has notes. She's just a matter of fact kind of person. So she doesn't do things to be mean or rude, but she's just very brash in how she says things. And n- she does, I mean, it's the way she has no bedside delivery. I was asleep in the waiting room, woke up, then here come my aunt talking about my grandmother done passed away. I was like, oh, I just woke up. Thank you for telling me. Neither here nor there, right? So they did talk about little Kevin, and we found out that little Kevin is actually going through a divorce. I was like, oh wow, that's a lot, right? He's lost his mom, and now he's going through a divorce. Like, that's got to be difficult for him to be dealing with. Like I said earlier, we just gonna pray for little Kevin, because I hope, on top of him being in grief counseling, I think he needs actual therapy and counseling, right? And I'm speaking I'm saying it out loud, knowing the same thing for myself, right? I still to this day have not talked to anybody about my grief, and I know that I need to. And my mom passed away in 2017, and there are days that it still hits me. So I'm speaking this out loud about Kevin, but I'm also speaking to myself at the same time, right? So this is what I love about the Braxtons, right? Because we get silliness, we get the serious stuff, and we get some drama with them, right? So when they were talking about little Kevin, Trina was about to cry until Tamar looked at her plate and was talking about some cheese and and that stopped Trina from crying. And I was like, this is what I love about the Braxtons, right? That they're able to just be themselves. That we get, like I said earlier, we get the funniness with them. We get laughter, we get crying, we get serious subjects with them, we get singing, we get all of that with them, and I love that. So then Trina was like, well, I want to know what Toni had to tell us, because Toni is the one that got all the girls together because there was something that she needed to tell them. So Toni let them know that, we all heard earlier that she had a stent in her heart, right? So I think she said a widowmaker. And the thing that I know about that the widowmaker is, if they don't get that, if they don't catch that, then that is severe, and you know it can unalive you. Like that that is truly something that'll take you out. But so happy Tony's here. So Toni told them that they told her that she would never be able to tour again, but she's like, she heard that, and she talked about this earlier in the episode when they first got together, when she found out that she had when she found out that she has what does Toni have? God dog it, I know what Toni has, and I um lupus. Toni has lupus. So she found out she had lupus in 2007 when she was doing a residency in Vegas at that time, right? And so they were also telling her that Toni needs bypass surgery, because if she has a heart attack, then she won't survive. And Toni just broke down crying in that particular moment. And I love the fact that the whole entire family just surrounded her and just showed her love, 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 right? And this is another thing where they made a joke, right? Because Tawanda was pointing at, she wasn't really pointing at her vagina, but Toni was like, "Are you pointing at my vagina?" And they were like, "If you don't use it, you lose it." And I started laughing because it just lightened the moment. It lightened the moment. So the next thing we have is Trina and Tawanda, right? So we see Trina and Tawanda. Now you guys know Trina and Tawanda live in Atlanta, and Toni and Tamar are out there in LA, right? So they met up and they were talking, and we found out that, because I had noticed it a long time ago when Tawanda had shaved her head bald. Now, I think they were initially supposed to shave their head in solidarity with Tracy, right? But Trina says that she has a round face, so it wouldn't look right on her. But we also found out with Tawanda, Tawanda has alopecia. And we actually heard about, we talked about alopecia earlier this year when we were watching Summer House Martha's Vineyard with the girl Jordan who has alopecia, right? What I will say about Tawanda, Tawanda looks good, bald or with hair. Like I love when you can feel comfortable in yourself, because with hair or without hair. Because some people, they feel, especially when it comes to black women and their hair, right? That's, there was a play that my cousin was in some years ago. It was called Crowns. It was called Crowns, and I love that play. I wonder if it's on Broadway, because I love that play, because it was talking about black women and their hair and hats and all that kind of stuff too. But I love that Tawanda was able to shave her head. I know probably at first it may have been hard for her, but she's rocking it. 100% rocking it, and she looks amazing, by the way. So Trina was saying that she was thinking about little Kevin. So Tawanda, like, you want me to call him? And they called him up, and they were looking at his hair. They were like, "Your hair's done." He was like, "Yeah, Olivia did it." And they were like, "Wait, huh? Your wife did your hair?" He was like, "Yeah." And he was just like, it's confusing for him. And again, we gonna pray for him because he's going through a lot. So they told him about the family doing grief counseling, and so he'll be there with them. Now, what I will say, the one scene that really, truly made me cry, it wasn't even a scene where they just showed Tracy with Toni. First of all, did Toni have a bald cap on her head? Because I was looking at that, I'm like, is that a bald cap on Toni's head? I hollered because it reminded me of that season when the COVID season, when that fool came in there with that hazmat suit on. I was like, only Toni, right? But the scene that really made me cry in this episode was seeing Tracy. It's always hard when you see someone with cancer, right? Because it takes a toll on their body, and they're not the person that you 100% remember, right? And just seeing Tracy, looking so frail, and it broke my heart. Like I literally started crying watching that scene because like Tracy, like not Tracy, like Trina said, y'all not gonna get me. I was like, I was said the same thing, like y'all not gonna get me, but hell, they got me because baby, I was a mess. I was bawling my eyes out. So then the last thing of the episode, you guys, we get to Tony's house. So they're going to be meeting up with the grief counselor. Her name is Spirit. Keep that in mind. Her name is Spirit. So they're cooking some of Tracy's favorite foods. Mommy and Trina are, right. Toni is getting her makeup done. Tawanda is on the way, and I think Tamar's on the way as well, right? So when Tamar got there, Tamar asked them where Spirit come from, and then Toni was like, "Why are you calling her Spirit?" And they were like, "Toni, that's her name." And Tamar was like, "Well, obviously she didn't come from you." So Trina says, "Well, I'm the one that knows Spirit." And they were like, "Well, how do you know Spirit?" And she says, "Well, I met her a few years ago, and it was after Gabe had passed away." And I was like, now I didn't forget that Gabe had passed away. I remembered it, but I didn't realize that Gabe was so young when he passed away. Gabe was 43 years old. Rest in peace to Gabe, man. Rest in peace. They show flashback clips of that's what the thing was with this episode. The flashback clips from Braxton Family Values. You had to flash all the flashback clips of Tracy, the good times that they had. You guys, let me tell you guys one of my favorite scenes of Braxton Family Values. Y'all remember that season when they went on a trip with each other? What was did they go to Italy? Wherever they went, I can't remember where they went to, but y'all remember when they were walking down the street and that man just came up behind Tracy and pinched her ass? He pinched my ass up. Like, I will never forget that scene. That scene right there was my favorite scene when that man literally walked up to Tracy and just grabbed a handful of her ass. It was funny. Also, that first reunion, that first and only reunion they had with that Wendy Williams hosted. I will never forget that either, right? But it's so many moments with Braxton Family Values that will go down in history. Another one that I will never forget is that scene when were they with Dr. Sherry. I believe they were with Dr. Sherry's ass, who did nothing for them. When Tracy crossed her legs and turned towards Tamar and just looked at Tamar. Oh, I miss Tracy. I really do miss Tracy, you guys. So we bring Spirit in, and I get it, especially with Trina, because Spirit asked Trina, well, since you brought me here, do you want to talk? Do you want to be the first one to go? And Trina was like, no. I get the hesitancy and the being reluctant because you don't know what to say, you don't know how to feel and things of that nature. So I'm not gonna sit here and say anything bad about that. The thing that I noticed is they're still closed off and they still don't have the best communication skills with one another, right? And I think that that's something that also needs to be worked on when it comes to the sisters. But overall, the first episode of the Braxtons was a good episode. I enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys thought about it. I enjoyed it, but it was also very, very, very sad, without Tracy. Once again, rest in peace to Tracy. We miss you, girl. We love you. And that's all I got, you guys. I will be here. I'm gonna try to be here every week for Braxton's. Like I said, this episode was just very, very heavy. But like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications. You guys share the video. And until the next time, stay safe, take care of yourselves, wash your hands, be blessed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.